I have written a first pass at lyrics for the first part. And rather than make you sit through me winding through this again and again in my head, I've got the first pass done. I'm going to talk to you about it and then set you on a task to write some more lyrics. So, normally, when you hear this kind of song, quite honestly, in choral music, let's see. I'm presuming this is an a cappella. It has a certain madrigal feel about it, and usually those are like songs like, sing out, shout for joy, or something like that, where they're almost fourth wall breaking, talking about, how it's important. You can hear this sort of like, isn't it great to be singing kind of thing. And who's to deny that? I guess those are fine. Um, I went. I said, let's just go with that, and I felt like I was just, remaking Thomas Morley or somebody else like that. Um, and so I said, well, let's try anything else. And how did I start with this? I just started trying da 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 da, and I just tried different things. Like if this was a traditional English madrigal, it might be like ring out, shout for joy, and then it might be celebrating a holiday or how great it is to be singing together or something like that. And you just try stuff. It's certainly energetic, right? So it's like wake up, sleepy minds. It was originally sleepy heads, right? And then it was like looking at the couplet. It was like uh, jump up and stand up and get out of your beds or something, trying to rhyme with heads. And so we are looking at a traditional sort of every four measures we have a rhyme kind of idea. uh, that eventually changed to be, even had like the next line here on measure nine was like um, sort of ironic. Instead of brush your teeth and comb your hair, it was like comb your teeth and brush your face, and then da 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 hair or something, blah blah, rhymes with face there. And tried many different things. Try not to get too stuck on any one of them because they're gonna change over time. As you can see, I'm at something different. So instead of like celebrating how great it is to be singing, this is more of a whimsical. Um, let's not get caught up in the day to day. Let's try and be creative and playful and thoughtful and like yeah. So wake up, sleepy minds, right? And then shake up the dust from your daily grinds, which is still medieval in a way because this is referring to you grinding wheat for your daily food. But we use that today. So, um, it worked out pretty well. And from there, I said, well, like, what does that mean? It means like stop getting trapped in, the day to day and do something playful, do something creative, do something that awakens your senses of faculty and wonder and things. And so like I said, originally they were like, you know, comb your teeth and brush your hair, and I thought it might be fun to be whimsical to switch the verbs with the action. So you go like, huh? Because it's expected, but then it's kind of weird. Kind of like when Frodo insults, not Frodo, Bilbo insults everybody at his wedding party who are expecting him to say nice things, and then he says something to the effect of, I know, half as well of you, or, all of you half as well as I like, and all of you half as well as you deserve, or something. And it's a backwards insult, and everybody is having a good time, has to think about it for a moment. Tried those kind of things. Eventually, I went to these these ideas that are energetic and creative and active. So cut a rug instead of dance a dance. Cut a rug, right? Instead of let's make a poem, right? It's turn a rhyme, right? And then it hit on me that I'd be rhyming with rhyme. So here is maybe the first thing that I want to show you that I think is, other than just say try stuff out, is using some pre-planning. First off, we knew that we were going to rhyme every four measures, like wake up sleepy minds, right? Shake off the dust for your daily grinds. They're minds and grinds. Okay, good. Right? Cut a rug, turn a rhyme. We're going to look for something that is rhyming with rhyme, you know. But inside of there, to give myself something new, I'm going to try and put an internal rhyme here as well. So orate means to speak or tell. Orate a story. So or and store rhyme, right? And here's another idea that structurally came to mind when I was writing this. Um, Instead of putting a rhyme here where you expect it, right? Uh, Run this over so that you have to put the rhyme at the beginning of the next um, line, right? So cut a rug, turn a rhyme, orate a story of love sublime, right? And so it's fun because like this is a half cadence, which means that we're not done, right? It feels like we're not done. It has to keep going musically. So I made my lyrics match. Love, sub, can't end there. Blime, right? That led me to having to add an extra syllable in here, right? So I'm narrating this story now of love sublime and then other things that you could do. Then with cunning, then with cunning. So blime, then with cunning and guile, right? Hoodwink your friends with an impish smile. I just want to talk about this. It means to trick your friends with a mischievous grin, right? Originally it was, hoodwink. Actually, originally it was damasareru, which is to fool or to be fooled in Japanese, which I thought was funny because it fit the rhyme scheme. It was a word that nobody would understand, and so that is in fact tricking you, right? But it felt a little bit too extent, a little bit too out there. I decided to stay tonally all in one language. So hoodwink instead of damasareru, right? And it was originally your foes with a roguish grin or smile or something like that, or a rakish smile. Rakish means stylish and a little bit outlandish. Roguish means, like thief-like, right? And scoundrel-like. And then I thought, no, let's keep the toner light. So instead of hoodwink your foes, hoodwink your friends, right? Like play a trick on your friends, or at least make them think one thing and misdirect them with an impish smile. This has all the same meanings of those other words, rakish, roguish in a way, but it's very friendly, right? Imps are small, impish smile, okay? And then finally, this last line right here. In a normal song, it's very common to take the first line and just put it at the end, especially when the music is repeating after a sorts. So I could have just gone love sublime, then with cunning and guile, hoodwink your friends with an impish smile, and then just gone at the very end. Wake up, right? Sleepy minds, right? Shake off the dust of your daily grinds. I could have done that. But then I thought, this is the first time. First off, it's like that would have been fine. And I actually did type that all in right here, right? So it would have been fine to do. But then and that's a good thing. Like if I had a deadline, I could have just done that and nobody would have thought anything of it. It would have been a perfectly fine way to recycle this title line and put it there. But then I thought, you know what? We can do that the very last time we come through here, or we can not do it all, but I can certainly add value to this line right here. So, I did like make haste, right? Make haste. And then why? Well, wonder awaits, right? So it's a promise that if you're doing all these active things, whether it's dance or poetry or telling a story of love or pulling hijinks and pranks, right? Then it's that's the idea that there's wonder out there for you. There's a reward for that, right? Don't delay. And then it's like I knew that when I did this, I was going to do this thing again, where instead of love sublime, right over, that I was going to take hesitates. And it's funny because if you hesitate to sing these words and it takes into the next section, you hesitated. And you've heard the term, he who hesitates is lost. So I took that instead and said lore is not for. So folklore, or the rich story, the back lore of things. Lore is not for he who, and you'd go hesitates right there and it'd be done. But since this is the beginning section and we did it once here, and where we throw the word over there, I'm going to take this hesitates right there for the next section. Okay. Um, when we eventually finish this piece, we'll come back around and sing this again, and then I'll probably have to change two things. One is that we end on a one chord, like you'll notice that I've changed this to another five chord right here again to push us through. And this is no longer technically a double period anymore because they're both half cadences, but that's fine. That's not the important thing. Nobody's going to come and take away merit points from us. This serves our musical need, right? But I'll probably end up being, instead of like wonder awaits, fill in the rhythm here and go like, the reward for da 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 that has to end there. So this last line is going to get rewritten at least once, right? And then maybe the last time I come to it, I'll just go wake up, sleep in mind, shake the dust for your daily grinds. So I'm actually hearing this happening at the beginning, in the middle, and once at the end. So for the middle one, I'll have to change this a little bit probably. And then, the last time I might take this first line and stick it down at the bottom. There's that right there. Let's talk about this. Dive in, try what's tropey, right? And see how it fits. And then you can reject it, try modify it, make it clever, or just use a similar technique, right? Don't be afraid to lay things in there and then look at them again and again and then see if it fits. And, I cut out entire sections of lyrics that didn't work, right? Think about structural things with your lyrics. So the second time we're doing this whole thing, I reward the listener by putting a quick internal rhyme here. Orate a story of love, and then I think about, from a structural point of view, you can do clever things like subvert their expectations of ending on the last measure here and make the lyrics push you through. I ended up adding a beat here to make my lyrics work, and it's fine. It's just the repeated notes. I want to point out that this here took many incarnations, right, including foes and different words for mischievous or slightly devious and such. And eventually I came up with one right there. It's fine to take the last line here, especially if it's musically very similar or repeat, and put the first at the end. And I did that at one point just to get it in. And then as I'm looking it over, I go like, you know what, I can do more. And I thought about the position of this in the song, right? And I know that this is going to be what we call a 5-part rondo. We have the A section, then we have the B section, then we come back to the A section, then we have another C part or section, and then we'll come back and do this again. And so I think every incarnation will be a little different. This will be slightly recomposed lyrically and things for after after we do B, right? And then the last time I'll probably take this whole line right here and dump it at the bottom, because it's a way of also saying we're done the piece. We've bookended it with lyrics. Okay. That was really complicated, and I thought about how am I going to teach you this or that, and I don't think that's the right thing for this. To have you come up with lyrics without a context, without any training and stuff, is actually very difficult. If you have lots of practice at it and you've studied a lot of other music, that's fine too. But I'm going to just say the words as we go along, and you should too. Now, if you're watching this video, right, say it along or sing it along, but don't worry too much about the pitch, and just hear how the words go. Make sure that they roll off the tongue correctly. In saying it and doing it, you as a writer might come up with a different word or a slightly different idea, which maybe is something you want to upgrade the current lyrics with, or you want to save for another time or another place or even another song. But here we go. Wake up, sleepy minds, shake off the dust of your daily grinds, cut a rug, turn a rhyme, write a story of love sublime, then with cunning and guile, hoodwink your friends with an impish smile, make haste, wonder awaits, glory is not for he who hesitates. Right? And it's good because it pushes you forward. The lyrics contribute to that idea. Okay? And that's, I'm pretty happy with this. I'm not sure shake off the dust from your daily grinds, of your daily grinds. It was of at one point. I like shake off the dust of your daily grinds. Shake off the dust from your, I'm gonna I'm going to put this in here. It's good enough that I want to think about it. So, I'll make a note here. Let's see. Lyrics, type into score. I'm just going to go here and put in here of question mark, just so I have a placeholder for that to think about. And it's going to try and do delete. Okay, so that's an example of that. How are you going to do lyrics next? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. To get this thing done for choir and to make it cohesive and things, I'm going to probably end up using my lyrics. So I'm not trying to deny you an authentic experience, but you don't need to have the weight of this on your shoulders as a sort of first go around. You've been co-participating in the experience of writing this, but I'm the one that has to move this forward. So I'm going to explain this next section here, and here's where you're going to write some lyrics, okay, and have a go at it. So if you remember, we wrote this section 3 times, one in 4-part writing, one in 3-part writing, and one in little duets, and we've kept all of them. So you'll see that the very first part right here is the 2-part duet that we did. Now I've filled out this, but you can hear it goes. Let's see, maybe you can't hear it. Let's see, try again. I'm just going to get rid of that. You can hear it goes to a thinner texture. And then big together. Okay, so the change of texture from 4 parts here to 2 parts overlapping like that is a great way to differentiate the 2 sections. Obviously the melody is different. The key didn't really change, although the chords did. You have to think about all the different elements of music, and you have to have several of them change in a significant way, otherwise it doesn't sound like a new section, right? And so we've changed our texture and the density of the number of voices. We've changed our melody. We've changed our chord progression. We'll change our dynamics as well. This will be like sort of, quietly like sung sotto voce, right? Unlike the beginning, which is big and fanfare-ish. And we'll, do that, and then we'll come together in the line, and then 3-part, and I'll talk about how I modified this, I guess, right now. Before, it was 3-part where I just wrote an alto line with a baritone bass. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to carry through this idea that the altos and the duet idea here that's going on between the 2 inner voices and outer voices will get carried through. So the outside voices will go ya da 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 da, right? Dum da na 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 na. That's fine. But inside we'll have the tenors take over this low G that was on the altos and then dovetail into here. So it will still feel like 3 voices the whole time, but we won't be excluding any one section for the whole time. So tenors, then altos, then tenors, then altos, then tenors, and then altos with them, but it's just more strength because it's a unison note right there, and then the full-blown 4-part, right? It's a different version from what we had originally here, which will be nice. It'll sound similar and yet different, right? I have changed this to da 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 na na na. I have an intuition that that's going to be better than down to the G, but we'll see. And then finally, the last part is the full 4-part. Ya na 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 na. And then at this point right here, we're unison. It's 1-part texture in 3 octaves, right? Da 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 da. So this is the full version of that. So this is it's got growth in it. It's using the different writing that we had. It's been adapted to our needs. We've repeated this twice for balance that I said we might be doing, and yeah. So your job here is to try and write lyrics here, and I'm going to suggest how to do it, and then I'm going to let you go and do it and make your best faith effort at this. I guess what I'm hoping for is an hour's worth of work, right? However much you get. But if you get nothing in an hour, then you let yourself get stuck instead of trying to be creative and do different things that we talked about, okay? It doesn't even have to be good lyrics, but they have to be some lyrics. Bad lyrics can be fixed and upgraded. No lyrics is still no lyrics, okay? So here's what I suggest. We're going to have this thing goes, who hesitates, okay? That's the That's the inside voices that are going to terminate and say tates. Okay? But at the same time, in this new section, the outside voices will start with take, which is almost the same. And what you want to do is you either want to have one continuous set of lyrics that each um, pair of voices jump in and out of. Like you could go like take up the fife and the drum and the da 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 or something like that, or take up the call, or you know um, you get to make up your. I won't suggest too many lyrics, but take should be the word that you start with, and you can have one complete sentence that goes all the way through here, okay? And you can have the different people join in, right, at different places in and out of the sentence, or you can have two different parts conversing with each other, and that's the one that I'm going to go for, where you have these guys go take up the da, and then the other ones are going to say something else like, uh, um, you know, stand up real tall, and the next one's going to be, it'll be answering this, but still connected to the last one, very much like this, and see if you can come up with it all comes together at the end here and makes a line. Okay. Um, yeah, that will be lots right there. Or if that's really easy for you, or if that's really difficult, super difficult for you, you can try to do the third line, which I think is probably better as the single sentence idea that goes through rather than a conversation between two, right? And stuff like that. Okay. Is there a rhyme scheme? I hope so, but maybe it doesn't have to because there's such a strong rhyme scheme metrically placed inside here, right? If you want to be clever and try and throw um, like compound words like sublime or hesitates over the system line or somewhere that helps give you lyric forward motion instead of just musical forward motion, you can do that too, right? Above all, you're going to have to say and sing these so that it makes sense to you. And if you're going to duet, grab somebody to help you. That would be fine too. Anyhow, this is your weekend homework for this. You have a bunch of other ear training stuff that was going on. And then, so this is your, get a line done at least, even if it's a bad one that you can say, this works, that works, this doesn't work. I'm okay with this, but I wish there was a way to upgrade it, right? Choose the first line, the second line. Don't worry about the third line unless this is just going great for you and you can't stop, right? Um, yeah, ask yourself, how does it give support and contrast to what happened at the beginning? Just so you know what's going to happen next, after we get through this round of lyrics, and you'll get some critiques, and we'll talk about it probably in another video when I probably will grab all your lyrics and talk about them so everybody can see everybody else's lyrics, and I can talk about what's great about them and what could use some improvement. Then this is going to go back to the original music, but probably only half of it. This is the back half I've copied, and I told you I probably need to rework this. And this weekend I'm going to build another section after that. And then once that's done, then we'll come back and do the entirety of the beginning again, except probably this last line will be the same lyrics as the very first line, which is another way to signal with your lyrics that we're done, because you finally come back to the beginning at the end. Okay? All right. Just as an aside, in case you're wondering what a rondo is, a rondo is a piece of music that at its heart is like a section that keeps repeating itself, a main section, and that would be the first thing you present. And then you have an alternate group right here, and then you come back to this main section again, usually in a whole or a good chunk of it, and then you do another section, and then keep going back and forth, and you end with your original section. 5 parts like we're doing is the standard kind, although there are 7 parts, and there's weird ones that are 6 and 9 and 12 parts and things. It's a very good format because with that returning thing here at the beginning, it's strong and usually your best work up front. It's memorable, it's tuneful, the audience will know it. It's good for the singers to catch on and remember things, and you get a lot of mileage out of the same notes that they've memorized. But it's a strong format in that way. The other thing is usually usually the sections are in different keys. Now, this first one is in the key of C, and this second one is in the key of C. However, you can see that we have we make it feel different because we're using 1 6 2 5 1 6 2 5 with a lot of A minor chords, and so even though it's not truly in the key of A minor, has an A minor flavor like the relative minor, and that's a legitimate place that would go. When we get over to our repeat being done here, and I'm going to do my new extra section, the third part kind of thing, it will definitely be in another key. Now, I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to write it to travel through a bunch of keys or it will statically stay in one key until the end. But the end of this section here will be in the key of G or ending on a G chord or something, because G will take us back to the key of C, which is right here. So if you want to think of this, this is the key of C, this is pseudo key of A minor, right? And then back to the key of C, and then either the key of G, which is the dominant, or maybe a bunch of keys that end up eventually in the key of G, and then back to C. So there's these large locations that we go to, and it's not something that's intuitive. You don't go, aha, we're in this key, unless you're educated and you can hear that. But it is something that you subconsciously understand, and they go together quite well. All right, so I'm just going to play this from the beginning for you so that you can hear it. I'll make the audio for these things available to you. Well, you want to play these lines for yourself, but yeah, here we go from the beginning so you can hear. So it's building, and now big, full 4 voices, and then and that will probably be the C chord. So I'm going to rewrite some of this, but we only need half of this on this time because everybody knows what it's like, and that way when we get to the end and we do the full version of it, it won't feel like, oh, we're doing this whole thing again, right? It'll be more like, yay, we get the full version. Okay, all right, good luck with those lyrics, and it'll be fun to go over those with you in another video. I, of course, will write this next part and make more videos about that as well.